talk about this one. So we have this from Part of State's newsroom. South Carolina Daily Gazette. Father of slain 22-year-old wants federal prosecutors to handle daughter's murder case. Before his May arrest, the accused killer had been charged with at least 48 crimes across 14 occasions, according to his criminal record. Why is he on the street? The father of slain 22-year-old Logan Federico, who was murdered in a downtown Columbia neighborhood while visiting with friends at the University of South Carolina, wants to see his daughter's case handled by federal prosecutors after he said it was failures of the state court system that contributed to his daughter's killing. Steve Federico of Waxhaw, North Carolina, said if it hadn't been for the record-keeping mistakes and plea deals that led to lighter sentencing, the man accused of murdering his daughter would likely have still been in prison. He certainly should have been. He's out? Or what do you mean? Or he means the 48 crimes that he's committed across 14 different occasions? I think that's what he means, not the murder. He executed Logan. He told the South Carolina Daily Gazette on Wednesday, "I want him dead." Steve Federico said it's what his daughter would have wanted too. Logan believed in accountability. She forgave, she forgot, but she believed people should be held accountable. She wants justifiable vengeance. She deserves it. On Thursday, the chief prosecutor for Richland County, Democrat Byron Gibson, released a letter that says he hasn't yet decided whether or not to seek the ultimate punishment. It criticizes Attorney General Alan Wilson for suggesting that he'd take over if the solicitor doesn't decide soon. History of crime. Dickey, age 30, is accused of fatally shooting Logan Federico during the early morning hours of May 3rd after breaking into the house where she was staying. I mean, look, so I just want to say this here, guys. If I am ever murdered by someone unjustly, like obviously, if I go batshit insane and I decide to hurt people, please put me out of my misery. But if I am murdered unjustly, someone's trying to rob me and they end up taking my life, and you find out who did it, please give them capital punishment. If someone ends my life unjustly, give them capital punishment. According to police, Dickey killed the young woman amid a multi-day crime spree that began with him stealing a car in Richland County and ended with his arrest after he broke into a Lexington County home and set it on fire. Dickey remains in jail without bond after his indictment June 25th on 12 charges, including murder, burglary, and possession of a weapon during a violent crime, according to Richland County court records. He is also facing 23 charges in Lexington County, including arson, burglary, larceny, and banking crimes, according to court records. This guy's irredeemable. Capital punishment. The father says capital punishment. He says that his daughter would have wanted capital punishment. This guy's irredeemable to society. He's 30 years old. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. 50, 60, 70 plus years. Why should we have to pay for this man's miserable life? I would pay to see it ended. See, since he turned 18, police have charged him with at least 48 crimes across 14 different occasions, according to a criminal record report from the State Law Enforcement Division. Those are all before his charges from May. That arrest history includes 31 felony crimes, mostly breaking into vehicles, but also some theft and burglary. 10 of them were traffic crimes. He was convicted on 8 of those felony charges and pled 2 more down to misdemeanors. How do you get convicted on 8 felony charges of breaking into vehicles and robbery and theft, and you're out in less than 12 years? And what I mean by that, right, is they said that he started his crime sprees at the age of 18, or they have record of him since 18. Could have been before that, because it's often, depending on the state, that those records, when you're a minor, get destroyed. They get deleted. They're not on record anymore. But since he turned 18, he has committed all of these different crimes, and less than 12 years, he's out. It should be 2 to 3 years per felony. This man should have been in prison just based on those alone. Let's see. The arrest history included 31 felony crimes. We read that one. He served 3 terms in prison, November 2014 to May 2017. He only served 3 years. And then he served again in August 2018 to December 2019, only 1 year. A little over, that's a year and a half. And then, wait, hang on. He served 3 times in prison. He served from 2014 to 2017. And then, my bad. I read that wrong. He served 3 years And then he served from April to August in 2018. Not even a full year, just a few months. And then he also served another 2 years from 2019 to February 2021. Talk about a slap on a wrist, man. State Department of Corrections spokeswoman Christy Shane confirmed at the age of 19, a grand larceny conviction combined with a conviction for third-degree burglary landed him a 5-year prison sentence, of which he appears to have served half. Let's see. I'm getting messages from Guido, who sent me the story. Thank you again to Guido for sending me the story. Here's a video of the dad. Ooh, absolutely. Okay, we'll pull that up. Let's play the video of the dad. Thank you, Guido.
Father of Logan Federico, that's the 22-year-old woman who was killed in Columbia back in May. The father is now speaking out once again, and a South Carolina lawmaker is also taking action. Logan Federico was shot and killed while visiting friends on May 3rd. Police say Alexander Dickey broke into the home she was at, killed her, stole a car, and then used stolen credit cards before he was arrested. Dickey had nearly 40 prior charges, including burglary and armed robbery, and had a history of pleading to lesser offenses in order to avoid long prison terms. While Logan Federico's father, Steve, telling members of Congress that Fifth Circuit solicitor Byron Gibson has never contacted him about his daughter's case.
She was 5'3". She weighed 115 pounds. Bang! Dead. Gone. Why? Because Alexander Devontae Dickey, who was arrested 39 goddamn times, 25 felonies, was on the street. How about that?
Well, after that testimony, Congressman Ralph Norman now calling for Gibson's impeachment, saying someone with Dickey's record should have never been back on the street. We'll continue following up on this story.
That's absolutely terrible, dude. I mean, this never should have happened. This literally never should have happened. For breaking into a vehicle in 2013 and another 2014 burglary charge, judges assigned him probation. Just slap on the wrist after slap on the wrist after slap on the wrist after slap on the wrist. At what point do we sit here and say, huh, this guy's not getting the message? This guy's not getting the message, and he's a threat to society. The only thing that comes to mind when I hear stories like this is that it's on purpose. Same thing with what was that Ukrainian woman that lost her life on the subway? That guy shouldn't have been on the street either. Yet he was. And why was he? Because our government wants us afraid, and they want us. They let criminals out, and then when a law-abiding good person fights back, they punish them. It's ridiculous, and it's fucking backwards. Then, in 2023, police arrested him for burglary again. After prosecutors and Dickey reached a plea deal, a judge had the option of sentencing Dickey to as much as 5 years in prison. The judge also could have rejected the deal, keeping to the original second-degree burglary charge that comes up with penalties up to 10 years. Instead, the judge ruled that the 411 days Dickey spent in jail waiting for his case to proceed was enough time served. He was then let out on probation. Impeach that motherfucking judge and stick him in prison for manslaughter. Dereliction of duty. Disgusting. I'm appalled. The issue, Lexington County's chief prosecutor told NBC affiliate was the earlier burglary charges didn't show up in his criminal history record maintained by SLED, and the plea deal had treated the burglary as a first time for that offense. Despite Dickey's earlier convictions, he had over 48 fucking convictions. 48 known convictions. He had 48 known crimes, over 30 of them being felonies. You're telling me that this last one in 2023, when the judge gave him 411 days and said time served, that shit didn't pull up on his record? Had they known, 11th Circuit Solicitor Rick Hubbard told the WIS his office wouldn't have struck the deal. Oh yeah, sure, dude. SLED's explanation was that it never received fingerprints from the 2014 burglary arrest. A receipt of fingerprints is what prompts the agency to add charges to someone's record.
Very nice.
Thank you. That's a good sound effect to cheer me up. According to spokeswoman Renee Wunderlich, the state police agency did not respond to the Gazette's question on any policy changes since the updating criminal records to prevent similar issues in the future. Our sergeant sent in a $2 Rumble rant. He said the oldest trick in the book stop people's ability to solve their own problems and then ignore the problems until they beg you to take their rights away to fix it. Exactly. They're doing it on purpose to dismantle this country and this society and our culture. These people, these communist bastards, are letting these people out on the streets to destroy good people like you and the rest of you, and like me and the rest of you in the audience is what I meant to say. They do this to destroy us, to dishearten us, and to blackpill us. That's the ultimate goal, is to destroy a cohesive society. Because without a cohesive society, they can rule the rubble. That's what they want. They want the government's one big pyramid, our society's one big pyramid, and they want to see it all crumble so they can rule on top of the rubble. It's ridiculous. Let's see. In Steve Federico's mind, everyone involved played a role. He blames the judge and the solicitor for not researching Dickie's past before approving a plea deal, let him back out into the community. Soft on crime is a problem, he said. This happened because of that. Yeah, we don't need to read the rest of this whole thing. I feel terrible for this man's family. This is absolutely terrible. This is just another case of something that didn't need to happen, but because of government neglect, government negligence, and maybe even government malice, he was back out on the street and ended an innocent woman's life. Ridiculous. Sorry, Taurus G3C. What are you talking about, Wiggum? If any of you are low on funds but need a concealed carry, the Taurus G3C is a very good cheap pistol. Well, I definitely need... I am definitely going to be looking into getting a handgun soon. I currently only have a 12 gauge for home defense. But who knows? I live in California. I might shoot someone in my house because they broke in and they're threatening me, and then I get arrested. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that crazy how that works? We're turning into the UK and Canada. It's disgusting, guys. Absolutely terrible. Let's see. They make a CA version. Good. Anyway, just for...